Good morning. I am at a really big house, and I was here earlier in the season for a system that wasn't cooling well. Ended up being low on R-22. He has like 8 or 9 or 10 R-22 systems, but here's what I'm looking at now. Here, there's half an inch of water that they didn't notice. The condensate pump was not totally full, so I didn't think that was bad. But I blew out this drain line before taking the unit off, and it just poured in and filled this up like 3 times. It did get clogged up again because of all this gross debris in here, which is again about a half an inch, maybe an inch in that pan. It's a big pan. You could just see all the crud in there. So I'm going to vacuum out all that crud, and I'm going to put condensate treatment tablets in. That way this doesn't happen to him again. Eventually he is going to be swapping all these systems out for 410 systems, but he has so many, it's going to be a long process. You could see we've got the drain from the unit, drain from the humidifier, and drain from this other unit. I'll make sure both of those are blown out and clean. Both pans are treated, both pans are clean. Even though this one wasn't a concern, I'll just do it because it's right next to it. And then there's another unit down here that I have to take a look at. And if you're curious what these units are, they're Spacepacks, blower coil unit 3642. I'm not sure which tonnage this is. It's either 3 or 3.5. I guess it's both. Manufactured 2005. So not terribly old, but still R-22. And it looks like this may have never been serviced in its life. Peter's grabbing the shop vac and some drain treatment tablets for me. This was running and cooling before, and it wasn't freezing. I thought maybe it was freezing, and that's why we had all this water, but it was just overflowing in this pan. So we'll get this cleaned up, and there's another unit they have a concern about. We'll check out both outdoor units, make sure everything looks good there, capacitors and everything here, and see how it all looks. Actually, you could see TXV in there, and the bulbs wrapped up on that suction line. This sensor, I'm not sure what it's for. I imagine it's actually an overflow sensor for the drain. That's what it looks like to me, but I guess it fell out. I'll ask him if he wants to put in an overflow. Vacuuming it now with the Milwaukee shop vac. Condensate pantry tablets that we use by New Calgon. I'm gonna throw quite a few of them in there because I couldn't get a lot of it since it's so far back. So here's the fan motor capacitor that I took out, and you can see it reads 10.03 microfarads, and it's rated for 10 plus or minus 6%, so this capacitor is fine. Here's the guy's pool, really nice, but I'm on my way to the truck to get the testo probes for my R-22. See if this guy's got a chicken coop. Just cleaned the truck out, but keep my testo probes right here. And it's starting to rain. Yay. I hope it doesn't start raining too hard, because I have a feeling he's going to need R-22. Shoot. Okay, so the rain stopped. Got the umbrella out over there. But Peter knows which unit is which, since there's 4 over here. He's gonna tell me what's what, and I need to figure out which one's the dining room so I can check what's going on with that. unit. I just got it opened up, and we have a friend. He got fried on the capacitor for sure. See that, Peter? And let's see, the wiring actually looks like it's still intact. Gonna have to clean that up, but let's see what's going on with power, if there's power coming in, if there's 24 volts coming in. Maybe we have a pressure switch off, probably low pressure, if anything. We'll see. So I tested for 24 volts at the contactor and I didn't have it, but I did have it at the thermostat connections. So it's gonna be one of our switches. I'm gonna put the gauges on and see what it looks like before I try to reset the high pressure switch. And we'll see what happens. You can see all the corrosion down there, so maybe there's a leak over there, but we'll see. It is R-22. Okay, so I got my probes hooked up, roughly 75 degrees it's reading. I'm almost sure it's going to be low because it's about 80 degrees outside. We're going to hit 90. See, they're hooked up, and I just want to figure out which of these goes to power in case there's any emergencies. It's probably this one. Can I get the non-contact tester? Other side. So make sure we have power, which we do. And now we don't have power, so remove some things off the condenser. And if I push this high pressure switch in, it should reset. You see the contactor pulls in, so it looks like we're going off on high pressure. But why? Maybe our condenser fan motor isn't turning on. Let's see. No condenser fan motor. So we'll take a look at the capacitor, which we know there was a rat on or a mouse, so maybe that's the issue. And if not, maybe we have a bad motor. I'm going to see if it's jammed. Can I get a screwdriver? Thank you. And of course my new screwdriver doesn't fit. Do I have something else that's skinny? Maybe my needle nose? It does feel a little bit tight. Actually, it's moving pretty freely. I got this. This is fine. Yeah, let me get one of those. It's a medium-sized one, or that one. Check with the Allen key. Yeah, it spins freely, so it's not locked out. Check out that capacitor. I'll take that out. Okay, here's a capacitor. We're rated for 50 and 5 on the fan side. I'm used to purple being for compressor, but our purple in this case is actually for our fan. Our yellow is for our compressor, and our reds are common. Peter's grabbing a new capacitor, which I'll test to make sure the new one's good, and make sure it runs, make sure it cools. We'll see if it ends up needing refrigerant, and hopefully the fan motor spins once the new capacitor's in. Okay, Peter just came back with the new capacitor and gloves. So I'm going to take these and test the capacitor. And then clean out some got it wired up and secured. Readings are still visible on it. I'll put a date on it as well. But to test it, I'll turn power on. And we'll watch our pressures. And once those settle out, we'll see what they're at. I was wrong on the ambient temperature. I thought it was warmer out. I guess it cooled down with the rain, but we're around 76 degrees. And I'm going to check our discharge temperature, which is going up, which is good. Over 10 degrees already. Here's where we're at on our pressures. A little bit low on the subcooling, but it's kind of bouncing around. It's still stabilizing. And normal on our superheat. Just keep an eye on it, see what happens. We're going to end up being good on our charge. Clean this up, clean out the inside of this unit, as well as the other unit we were working on. I'm going to call the homeowner and ask if he wants us to check out any other units. Grabbed a new filter. See all this water on the floor. But this unit's filter was dirty. I removed it over there. Make sure there's a nice clean one in there while I'm checking pressures. Everything's going the right way. Nice and cold, and a little bit warm. Okay, so I did go ahead and add half a pound of refrigerant. These superheat and subcooling are odd, but it's still staying at around 32 degrees, where our liquid line needs to be 5 degrees plus or minus 1 off of our ambient temperature, so that's what I'm charging it to. Once it stays steady around that, I'll leave it, but just half a pound, and I think that's all it's going to need. Before I close this all up, I removed this much mouse nest, about a foot tall, of just poop and insulation and nuts, carcasses. So I'll throw that out in the black bag, and then I'll get this unit open, which is for our living room. This was our dining room, this is our living room. Just check everything out. I'm almost sure the charge is good because we're condensing nicely, we're discharging heat nicely, and there was no ice inside, and it's cooling well. But they're having people over, so we want to make sure everything works for that. And for this unit, I tested the capacitor dynamically. You can see we're within the variable amount it passed. Here were my readings, my voltage, my amperage, and the rating. I like to do it dynamically because it's easier, you don't have to take it apart, and it's a more accurate reading of what the system's actually doing. And again, under load, we have 365.8 for our voltage, 0.69 for our amperage, rated for 5, and we're actually dead on, which is perfect. So that's going to be it for this video. Nothing too exciting. I'm on my way now to a ductless mini split that's not cooling. And it's usually refrigerant, maybe thermistors, maybe just a dirty filter. It does say in the invoice that the filter has never been cleaned, and he didn't know. I'm assuming that means he didn't know where the filter was, so probably never cleaned. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, like the video, comment with any questions or feedback. And subscribe. Thanks for watching.